This is the Bush Whisperer coming at you from the beautiful penguin sanctuary. The penguins are quiet. It's a really drizzly, rainy morning. It's been a bit cold, not very cold. Here, the Western Cape, Cape Town, Boulders Beach, off the Agulhas coastline, near to the southern tip of Africa. I've come to talk to you today about embarrassment. Embarrassment and shame. Are you somebody that suffers from getting embarrassed or feeling ashamed at times? Well, let's break it down. What is embarrassment? What is shame? From a shamanic perspective, embarrassment is when we limit ourselves, when we bar ourselves from finding the true expression within. And shaman do not judge as much as normal people tend to judge. The basis of the shamanic path is acceptance, and acceptance is the transcendence of judgment. And within all of us there is a little inner bigot, if we are honest with ourselves, waiting to judge the world, waiting to judge each other, waiting to judge experience, situations, wanting to rate everything that we see. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it right? Is it wrong? Is it better than that? Is it more than, less than this or that? And this continual judgment that we're exercising, which is a really important facet of awareness. Judgment is fundamental. Without judgment we can be lost in ignorance. Good judgment is knowing whether to eat chocolate bars or fruit. Good judgment is knowing whether to take a jacket out when it's going to rain or overdress when it's hot. So judgment is a fundamental part to understanding this reality and being able to exist within this reality in a healthy and productive way. So there's nothing wrong with a bit of judgment. However, as human beings we get a bit pathological at times. And this pathological attitude towards judgment is the problem. We judge ourselves continually, and so we judge the world, and so we judge each other. And so we judge the animals as being less than us, less important. We judge the world around us as being just a tool that we can use for our own gains or our own productivities, things that we find important, that we've deemed worthy. And it's this judgment of worthiness, of levels, where something is on a higher level than something else or better than something else, that is the source of all problems in our psyche with regards to shame and embarrassment. If we do not judge each other, then we cannot feel that we are judged by the world. And so the shaman is existing in a state of nature, accepting what is nature, accepting what is beauty, accepting what is within to be expressed, and so in this way transcends certain aspect of judgment, as it is a part of the path to accept, to live and let live, to be, and to just experience life in the fullness of what it is, allowing it to move through us, allowing it to become an expression of the deeper being that we are channeling through this consciousness field in terms of existence. And it's important to understand that whenever we are getting embarrassed or feeling shamed or ashamed, there's a sense of self-awareness. And we've been taught to think that being self-aware is not healthy, which is very weird. If you tell somebody they're self-conscious, they'll get embarrassed. They say, I'm not self-conscious. But being self-conscious is being self-aware. This is being in tune with what is coming through us, with the deepest aspects of our being, with the consciousness field as it's moving and flowing. I'm waiting for my son to use the loo, so I'm going to stand here and continue. I'm going to tell you a little story about embarrassment. I was living in Israel many, many years ago in the 90s. A place called Metsugai Dargota. I'd spent maybe a bit less than a month with a group of naked people, where embarrassment and shame had been forgotten, because we were all high conscious people practicing high conscious things, having discourse on spirituality, creating art, playing music, and living in a yogic fashion. And it was before I'd come to shamanism, but I was very much a practitioner of the occult and the spiritual sciences. This was about 1998. And I'd recognized something very powerful about embarrassment. I'd gotten a lift with someone at about 3:30 in the morning to go to a place called Ilat from Metsugai Durgot. And from there I was going to spend a day or two in Ilat, and then I was going to go via Jerusalem back to Hofak-Ziv in the north of the country where I was living, and where I'd been connected to a gentleman from Khalil, which is a biodynamic farming community, and an ex-teacher of the Kabbalah from the Hebrew University. And so I'd become connected to a wonderful group of people up there where I'd spent probably about 6 months. And I was going to go and stay there for another 6 months, or longer it turned out. And I was very lucky because I'd become connected to or a number of the teachers at the Kabbalist University of Jerusalem. So anyway, I was in Eilat, and I arrived there, must have been 3:45 in the morning, and I decided to meditate. And I went into a meditation on what I thought was going to be a empty beach. I didn't realize it was going to become a crowded beach. And as I like to meditate naked, I was meditating naked, and I'd left my clothes laying around me. Didn't think anything of it. And when I came back into my body a few hours later, 3.5 hours later, however long it was, a bit less than 4 hours I think, I was aware that there were people around me, but I wasn't aware of how many people there were around me. Israel's much more easygoing with nudity and much more relaxed about such things. And beautiful bird songs. And so I opened my eyes to realize I was on a crowded beach, and everybody was sitting like within inches of my body, all around me. And there were crowds, and I was shocked. Everybody was sitting. Obviously I didn't have my clothes. I didn't have anything. All I had was a towel I was sitting on. I didn't have my wallet, my passport, nothing. It was all in my bag and stuff lying around, and the people come to sit down where all my things were, because I had taken up quite a big space around me and left my things around. And so I had to stand up naked, the only naked person on a crowded beach, and ask people to help me if they could take a look. Maybe they were sitting on my trousers, and somebody, oh yes, I'm sitting on your trousers, and somebody else was sitting on my top, and I don't even think it was trousers. It might have just been a dhoti I was wearing, or a lungi. Yeah, it was the sarong, because it was hot, it was summer. And luckily I'd retrieved all my belongings as well. My little hip bag and my small bag with some clothes. I didn't take much clothes because I'd been living naked on the beach. So I only had a few changes of clothing on me, and very thin summery stuff. So it wasn't a lot of stuff. Though it was a powerful eye-opener to me, because my first instinct was to become embarrassed and to feel ashamed. And instead of feeling embarrassed and ashamed, I decided to allow the continuity of the meditation experience I'd been in to just flow with me. And decided this is part of my experience, and I'm not going to reject it. I'm going to embrace this. And I made a lot of good friends that day. I connected with people around me. It was a wonderful energy. And there was no judgment from the people, because I wasn't judging myself. I wasn't feeling judgment, so I wasn't attracting judgment. It was a very powerful learning curve for me to understand the way we create our universe around us. And so the lesson was, you only get embarrassed, and you only embarrass other people when you get embarrassed. If you can be yourself like a child and be normal and natural and healthy in any situation, you will find that people will attune to you in a very positive and healthy way. You will attract these positive attuning vibrations from people. So it's important to recognize and realize that when we're feeling embarrassed and ashamed, it's a powerful gift from nature. Because a shaman spends so much time living on their own in the wilderness, they're able to appreciate a life without embarrassment, a life without shame. So it's important for us to recognize and realize that when we're experiencing what seems to be embarrassment or shame, it's a great gift, one of the most profound gifts that one can get. It's, from a shamanic perspective, a revelation of the self, a revelation from the deepest aspect of ourselves. We tend to judge ourselves and judge each other and judge the world. And the moment that judgment is faced, we're starting to look beneath the hood, so to speak. Look under the covers and see what's really there within ourselves. Start to appreciate the true nature of our experience and start to learn to circumvent these judgment avenues that we get stuck in. For that is the source of embarrassment and shame. So never allow yourself to be afraid of being embarrassed or to be afraid of shame. Recognize that shame, embarrassment, these are great gifts. They can be a powerful agent of your liberation. It can bring you to the deepest aspect of witnessing who you are in this world and gaining some insight into the nature of the reality that you're living in, so that you can find a sense of transcendence. And this sense of transcendence can become activated by the very presence of embarrassment, the very thing we try and avoid, the very thing that we think we're afraid of. Let that be something to take with you from this little talk that I'm sharing with you here. A recognition that embarrassment is something positive. It is a spiritual awakening of sorts beginning. And we should not repel these awakenings. We should not be feeling that we need to avoid becoming spiritually conscious. For being spiritually conscious is the reason we're here. This is the Bush Whisperer coming at you from the beautiful penguin sanctuary. My little boy's in the background. He's eager to go and get his chocolate pancake. I told him we would get one. And he's been a little bit annoyed with me because Daddy's taking too long. So I'm going to leave you with that. Have an absolutely gorgeous day. And don't forget to shine and transcend your embarrassment and your shame. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.